Okay. Y'all feel like doing a paper craft? Anybody? Anybody? Because this is something else that I just really, we have a lot of fun again in the Page Builders Clubhouse. And, here's the prerequisite. We love paper. You have to love paper. Do you love paper? Yeah. We love paper. We love creating with paper. We love making. I love showing the gals sometimes new things that they can make with their paper. And so it's springtime here in Texas. Everything is blooming. It's getting really, really pretty. And I realize it's not quite springtime and maybe where you live, but today I want to show you how to make a really pretty folded flower. And Mother's Day is coming up. So I thought we would do kind of an oversized tag, something that could be pretty, that maybe we could use in multiple ways, right? It could be the front of a card. It could be an embellishment on a layout, right? It could also be a cute tag to hang on a gift bag, right? Or a present, something like that. All right. Yeah, I love paper too. I love all the things. Don't make me pick one because I just can't do it. I love all the things. So this is what we're going to do today. I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to be creating mine on these pieces of paper, these oversized. I'm going to treat them like a tag. Okay. They're 4 by 8 inches. Okay. 4 inches across, 8 inches in length. Okay. Width and height. We'll say width and height, 4 inches in width. 8 inches in height. Okay. I cut one out of this cute kind of dot paper. There's this fun polka dot on the back. I'm going to be working on this side. And then this is just cardstock. Okay. Just cardstock. All right. So those are going to kind of be the bases for my tags. I have some cute lace here that I'm going to use on them. And then I chose a color because we're going to make tulips, you guys. We're going to make folded tulips today. This is something I have shared before in the Page Builders Clubhouse, but it's always fun to share them again, right? Share these things again, especially tulips, because springtime is our time for tulips, right? So I'm going to do a pink tulips. So I have pink cardstock for that. And then just a pretty green for leaves. Okay. You guys ready? It is getting harder and harder to find double-sided cardstock. And a lot of times, Debbie, you have to find it online or in collection kits, things like that. Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about these tulips real fast. And I'm going to grab my friction pin here. So here's the thing. These tulips can be all shapes, all sizes, whatever you want. And so I just want to show you what you're going to start with. Okay. Is just a teardrop. We want something that looks like a teardrop. Okay. Now notice this one's fatter at the bottom. This one's a little more skinny. The fatter the teardrop, the larger the tulip. The skinnier the teardrop, the skinnier the tulip. Okay. Really simple. And I just hand drew these and cut them out. I think they look better than actually, I don't know. I kind of like them being a little bit organic looking and not looking, they don't have to look exactly the same. All right. You get a couple different sizes of tulips in this way. Okay. All right. I'm going to use my friction pin. So my friction pin is a pin that I trace templates with. Sometimes your printables in the clubhouse will have an actual template on it when we're making things. So if I ever do use a template, it's always provided to our clubhouse members. So I'm going to trace 3 of these out. Now, the friction pin, what's cool about it is it disappears with heat. The ink disappears with heat. And it is a great tool that I really feel like everybody needs. I'm gonna do kind of a fatter tulip and a skinnier tulip just so that you get the gist. So basically you can cut 1 teardrop and then use that as your template. And you're going to need 3 teardrops to make 1 flower. So we're going to do 2. Okay. We're going to do 2. All right. So let me cut these out quickly. Very, very easy to make, and they're so pretty. Okay, and perfect for this time of year. All right, so I don't have to be a perfect cutter because I'm going to heat these with my heat tool in a minute and get rid of all the ink. And I like that. So love using the friction pen for any time I'm tracing a template. And again, they don't all have to be exact. So don't feel like you have to be under a lot of pressure to cut these exact. They're going to look beautiful no matter what. The color combo seems to help. Oh, yes, you've used a lot of your stash. Yeah, because that's exactly what it does, because it just makes it easier for you to shop your stash, right? And the thing is, this is what I try to get everybody to realize is that you don't have to have themed papers to make themed layouts. You really don't. And it's getting harder to find just the right papers anymore if that's how you're thinking. So it's time to kind of let go of that and think more about color and pattern. And then it's the printables that kind of pull everything together, right? It's the embellishments, the titles, the word strips, all the fun things that we add. That's what pulls everything together. So it's a great way to use up that paper that's just hanging around, right? Yeah, listen to Misty. She is telling the truth. All right. I have used up so much of my stash, and I didn't think I ever would. I thought I'd have paper forever. But after 5 years online, especially in the Page Builders Clubhouse, I've gone through so much of it. And it's such a good feeling. I mean, it is such a good feeling to use something that you've been sitting on for a while. It's like you let it, I know this is going to sound corny, but it's like you let that paper fulfill its purpose in life. It became something. And it didn't just sit in a bin or in a tote or, just somewhere collecting dust. Okay, so this is my fat teardrops. Let's keep our fat teardrops together. I heated it so my little lines have gone away. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to ink the edges of these just a little bit. And I wonder if I'm going to use purple or, no. I think I will. I'll use just a little bit of purple. This is just going to give them, isn't that pretty? I love using chalk inks with papers. I am an inker. I like to ink on my papers, on my layouts and things. So these are chalkier inks, so they just blend beautifully and they look so pretty and soft on our papers. So I'm going to just quickly ink all of these. We just got in a lot of great new colors of these chalk inks in the shop. They're so pretty. This one is called Purple Dahlia. They have really pretty names too. Okay. So now then, we're going to keep these kind of in pairs here. All right. Are you guys okay? I'm going to make myself small, and let's see if we can make this a little bigger. Okay. So I have, this is kind of the base of my tulip, right? This is the base. And then I'm going to have two more. Make sure you're using the same, kind of the same size ones. So these are my skinnier ones. I'm going to move them over here. Now, what we're going to do with this one, okay, is we're going to turn it over and we're going to fold it in half. And just do the best that you can. Just kind of try to get it right kind of at that point and just fold it in half. Okay. We can see that all right. We're going to do the same thing with this one. So you want your inked edge to be on the top, on the outside. Just kind of line it up the best you can. Okay, so this is what you need for your tulip. 2 that are folded and 1 that is not. Let's go ahead and fold. I'm going to turn my glue gun on. I like to make these with hot glue. Let's go ahead and do our skinnier one. Same thing. We want to be seeing the inked edges on the outside. So let's fold it in half. And if it's hard for you to fold it exactly in half, it's okay. You could always come in and just kind of cut it, trim it a little bit where needed, and then just ink it again. All right, you guys ready to make a tulip? I don't think my glue gun's quite ready. So let's do this. Let me let my glue gun cool, heat up just a little bit more. I'm going to take that same purple ink and I'm going to ink around the edges of, remember, this is just going to be kind of like an oversized tag. You could put it, it could be the front of a card. It could be an actual, just a tag, a hanging tag. It could go on a layout. It could be all kinds of fun things. Let's go ahead and do this one too. I'm a messy inker. Can you tell? But I like the messy kind of look. I'm a heavy inker, I guess you would say. That pretty. I love how that looks. All right, let's see how we're doing here. Almost. Okay, don't let me forget, Susan, to announce the winners. Okay, don't let me forget to announce the winners. All right, let's build a tulip. So this is a folded piece. I'm going to put some glue kind of just kind of right in here. I'm just going to put a little hot glue right in there. And then we're going to take this down and we're going to kind of pull it out almost like half of a V. So this is the first step. That's the first step. There's the folded piece, right? Going down. Now let's put the other piece on. And I just, like I said, I like using hot glue for this. It's just fast. And this one is going to overlap the other one just a little bit so that we get this pretty tulip shape. Do you see what I'm saying down here? Do you see where it's overlapping this folded one? Just a bit. Isn't that pretty? We get a pretty little folded tulip. Let's do this one. And again, depending on kind of how wide, you spread them apart. That was the skinny tulip. This is the fatter tulip. So you can kind of get whatever dimension you want or size, shape, just by how you put them on. So it's almost like, okay, this tulip is further in bloom, right? Here it's folded, overlap just a little bit down here than this one. See how this one's tighter at the top and this one's more unfolded or wider, tighter, and this one spread out wider, more in full bloom, about to be blooming. Okay, here's the bottom. Yeah, does that help see the bottom? So the bottom one that's your solid teardrop, and then you're just kind of overlapping, and it doesn't really matter how you overlap as long as you keep this kind of V shape, and it looks nice when you overlap this area right here. Okay, so I think they just look so cute. All right, let's make a tag. I'm going to do it on this pretty kind of dotted one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 on this one. Let's do two 2 tulips. You don't necessarily have to, but I think it looks pretty. And our tulips are going to need some leaves. All right, our tulips are going to need some leaves. So tulip leaves are kind of, oh, they look like blades, right? They kind of look like blades of glass, and there's nothing perfect about them. They're just kind of, I don't know. You can make them kind of curvy. They can be more straight if you want. It's really up to you, kind of how you want them to look. Let's cut another one. So I like giving mine a little bit of movement. Almost looks like a green bean or something. And then let's make it a little more pointy at the bottom. So there's one. And just making it a little more pointy at the bottom. Okay, so you know how tulips sometimes one of the leaves can kind of like flop over, you know what I'm talking about? So it could be fun for us, get that little part, to actually have one of these just kind of flop over. So not like a hard fold, but just a little bit of a fold. You know how they'll do that sometimes? Like we'll have one that's straight and one that's kind of flopping forward. Okay, could be something kind of like that. Now we also need stems. So let me show you how I like to make the stems. So this is where I cut the leaves, right? So if you just take a slender part and then we're just gonna cut something really thin. Just a thin, and I like it when they're curved a little bit. Again, something you can just do. You don't, it's just, these aren't hard. So this could kind of go under that. And then we need another smaller one for right over here. Look how cute that is. Okay, let's get our, I'm going to use tacky glue for this, just Scotch tacky glue. I like this glue because it grabs fast and it's clear when it dries. Okay, it's clear when it dries. And it just, I use it for all my paper crafting. I love it. All right, so let's put this one down first. They do make little tips that you can add to these with the little metal, you know, the little fine tip applicators that you can add to these bottles. I don't remember exactly where I was, but we'll go about like that. But I've kind of just learned in general how much pressure to use on the bottles, so I don't have a lot coming out. Okay. Now then, I'm going to put my glue back here. You guys like this? Isn't it pretty? So let's put one tulip right here and just kind of open up those folds. I like them staying open. I'm going to give you a suggestion on this here in a minute. And then let's keep this one down a little lower. So cute. Now, if this was going to go into a scrapbook layout, I just want you to see these really don't have that much dimension. I think it looks pretty with them kind of folded up like this. But if you want, you could use a little bit of like double-sided foam tape or pop dots, and you could stick a little pop dot underneath these. That way they're still raised, but they kind of stay, you know, in position. I kind of like them just kind of like this because they just look more dimensional, but it's totally fine to use a pop dot or something underneath the folded layers of your tulip. All right, I think we should ink these. So let me find us a good green ink here. Let's see, green with envy. Do I want to go darker? Let's use this. Let's see how this one looks. This is called Weeping Willow. So let's see if it makes much of a difference. No, too close to the same color. So you know what? Let's go with like, sorry, I'm just looking through them all. I don't have them all separated yet. You know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to use this. This color is called Coal Miner. It's one of my favorites. It's just kind of a, it's kind of like a gray, but it's got a little bit of a bluish cast to it. So let's use this just to add a little bit of dimension. Now we're going to fold that leaf over, so we'll change this in just a second. Isn't that pretty? Called Coal Miner. That's pretty. And again, just going to ink along the sides. Now this whole project is about adding a little bit of dimension, right? So let me add a little ink up here with the folding and, you know, just all the things. So we know this one. I want this one to kind of flop forward, okay? But watch what I'm going to do. I've flopped it forward, almost like a bunny ear, right? But then I'm going to take my finger. Do you see how I'm just kind of wrapping the paper around my finger? You could use your little finger just so it looks more kind of like that. We're not really folding it. We're just kind of shaping it around my finger, okay? And then I'm going to put this on with hot glue. I'm just going to do it kind of the hot glue right here where we kind of shaped it. And I'm realizing now I probably should have put the other one down first, but that's okay. So then it's only getting glued down right here, so these edges are still kind of lifted up. And we can kind of curl this leaf a little bit with our finger. So pretty. So let's do the same thing with this one, right? Just put your finger right in kind of down the middle, and let's just kind of wrap it around our finger, whichever finger you feel most comfortable with. If you don't want to use a finger, you could even use like a pencil, okay? If it's hard to use your finger, just use a pencil. I use my hands a lot just because I know where they are. I can find them. All right. Put a little glue right here. And then let's bring this leaf in right about here. Oh my gosh, that's so pretty. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that gorgeous? This is no problem with this, even with the shaping, the folding of this going underneath a page protector. If you put it on a layout, there's no issue with this at all. If you want to use it as truly as a tag, a card front. I mean, there's just so many things. I'm going to put punch a hole right here. Just going to kind of eyeball the center. And you guys, this was easy. Great way to use your cardstock and your scrap papers, right? So pretty. So, so pretty. And then let's put in some pretty lace. So I don't know. I may have to cut this. I'm going to cut this really sharp on both ends. I'm not sure how, this might be too long, but I'm going to cut it really sharp on both ends because I don't really want to do a bow. I'm going to do like a slip knot. So I'm going to kind of put those two ends through there, pull this lace through. Pretty. Just going to keep pulling. And then take the whole, the tails back through this loop. And then just carefully continue to pull down. And then anytime I do a knot like this, then this is kind of a heavier knot because it's thicker. I like to put just a little bit of hot glue down and just kind of put it over the hole. Just hold it down. That way, you know, it's not going to slip out. Nothing's going to, I mean, it's not going to slip out anyway, but it just looks kind of, I think it looks prettier when it's more secure. And look how gorgeous that is. Isn't that pretty? Now, if you want to, you can take, I really like to add pen work a lot. So I could come in and kind of just do some little swirls. Again, just to add a little movement, add a little fun. Isn't that gorgeous? And there's still enough room if you even wanted to put like a sentiment, if you wanted to write something, if you wanted to stamp something, you know, you could, but we have this beautiful kind of dimensional tulip tag. Isn't it pretty? I know. It is so fun. And like I said, depending on the size of your tulip, I'm sorry, the size of your teardrop, right? So a couple different things, the size of your teardrop, but also how you lay them out, right? Like how you lay them out. Or do you have a wide V going on? Do you have a skinnier V going on? You kind of just get a different look in them. Isn't that fun? So pretty. If you wanted anything to sparkle, you could come back in and add some stickles. If you want your tulips to sparkle in any way. I can see one area that I forgot to ink. And so I'm going to tell you this just so that you don't forget, because sometimes when you're live, you're thinking about too many things. Right? Yeah, it's not always easy what I do up here. But when you did your fold, do you remember how we did this? I really should have inked a little bit along the fold. I should have inked a little bit along the fold. And then there would be a little bit of ink along this fold too. But I forgot, but that's okay. It's still beautiful. It's still beautiful. But, you know, if I forget something, I'm going to tell you. Yeah, I think the sparkle on it could be really, really pretty. Just another way to just kind of add, you know, add a fun little touch to it. And yeah, I just think it's so cute. And like I said, this paper has dots on the back, but they're still springy. Still springy. Very cute. Could be something really pretty that you could do for possibly Mother's Day coming up, for cards, tags, scrapbook layouts, all the things, right? Yes. Okay. So who's gonna make some tulips? Let me know in the comments. I want to know if you're gonna try this. And for those of you that like a more vintagey look, you guys, you could make these tulips out of book pages. You could watercolor on them. You could do watercolor tulips. You could do so many different types of things. And then just use the same folding methods, the same cutting methods, the same folding methods to get just a completely different look. Okay. Yes, good. I'm so glad you guys are going to try them because they really are pretty. They're so pretty. Yeah. The book pages, Patty, look really pretty, especially if you float maybe just a little bit of watercolor on them. So they just have a little soft, you know, touch of color to them. Could be really, really pretty. Tulips are some of your favorite flowers, Cindy. That's awesome. Well, now you know. And you know, tulips come in all different colors, right? Pink, yellow, red, purple. So, you know, you could really have some fun with different colors and make yourself a whole little field of tulips if you want to.